go. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday.
Good morning, Amy.
I see we've got...
Good morning, Amy. Rita.
Oh, hey, Rita. Nice. I see we have Florida, Pennsylvania, New York, Colorado, Ohio, Vegas. We've got somebody from Orange County. We've got Canada coming in, and then I don't even know where the webcast folks are. So type it in the box. And oh, I see we've got somebody else from Ohio. I'm going to mute everybody's lines so that we've got a nice, clean recording going. There we go. And then we're going to do something a little different today. I really want to make sure that we're always serving people, and sometimes the best way to do that is just let you ask your questions, okay? Because there's so many different pieces of content that we could do around digital marketing. We were just at a really large digital marketing conference that talked about everything from Amazon selling and email marketing, website, the different e-commerce platforms you could be using. It was a really juicy experience and really in-depth. So I want to make sure that we serve you and that we take care of you. We are going to have to end today right at 11:30 Pacific time. We can go, actually we'll go a little bit over since we got a little bit of a late start. So with that, I want to just take a minute, introduce myself, because I know we have a lot of new people hearing this for the first time. So I'm Amy Winslow, and our company's Products to Profits, as you probably already know. We work specifically to build product businesses, and some of our clients have taken to calling us their secret weapon. So we work with new consumer products across all different categories and in all different stages of business. And we also do a lot of company turnaround work, and some of you may not have ever known that. So if you know someone who is losing a big account or some other similarly catastrophic kind of event, we can frequently fix the problems. So you'll hear more from us about that coming up. And so I'm super excited. I happen to love digital marketing. We've been involved in it for years, and back in about 2013, our company was actually a top 10 finalist out of 10,000 businesses, specifically for some things around digital marketing and email marketing campaigns and how you do some of the logistics of that, okay? So we can definitely talk digital marketing. We're in it all the time. And there is a big trend right now to move off of the online selling into the into brick and mortar space. So from e-commerce into brick and mortar, you see that a lot with Amazon. They're starting to open their own retail locations. There's a ton moving around, and no matter what we all think, brick and mortar is actually still where over 85% of sales in the United States happen. So online is only accounting for, depending on the survey you're looking at, between 12 and 13%, maybe up to 15 on some of the reports, of all the sales. Now, digital massively influences the offline selling environment, so you have to keep that in mind. But it's a really interesting time. There's something called omni-channel marketing. We can talk a little bit more about that as well. So all of that said, today we're going to do Q&A. And I want it to be valuable to you and to other people. So here are the ground rules, okay? First off, these would qualify as public disclosure of an invention. So if you have a special magic secret something that you're doing with your product, please keep that in mind when you ask your question. Leave out that magic secret sauce piece. Talk about the category you're in or how you're selling or any of those pieces. Totally cool, all right? So for everybody on the Facebook Live, you can just type your questions. I am actually watching that scroll. And we have, Jeff is acting as our producer today, so he's watching the webcast for me. And we've got the phone lines open. So please, let's start. Who has a question about digital marketing and how you're going to market, how you're getting your product sold and into the marketplace? It's a big phrase. So I want to know who has your question. On the phone lines, all you need to do is press *2 on your phone, and that'll put you in the question queue, okay? On the webcast, just type it in the window that you should see. Hold on one second. There we go, the Q&A. Cool. So, awesome. Just making sure that that's all working. Cool. So somebody on the webcast type something so we know that you're there and you're hearing us. Okay, and our first question today is actually coming from Denver, Colorado. The phone number ends in 4248. Hey there, your line's open. Who am I talking with?
Hi, Amy. It's Kate Reeves.
Hey, Kate. Everybody, if you have not seen Kate's product, you really should, especially if you have anybody who has mobility issues or balance issues or is rehabbing from an injury. Kate, where can they find out more about your product?
At movemore.com, MOVEMOR.com.
Okay, it's a resistance trainer that you can use while you're seated. Its testing is off the charts with improving balance. So Kate, what's your question today?
Well, thanks so much, Amy. I appreciate your coaching call today and having these questions. I'm curious about the best way to use LinkedIn.
Awesome.
For your, to generate interest and whatnot.
Yeah, LinkedIn is great for your particular market. For everybody who's listening, Kate's market is very professional. There's a lot of rehab centers that are becoming interested in her product because of the test results and some other things. So physical therapists, rehab therapists, executive directors of rehab centers and assisted living homes. So LinkedIn, there's something that you can do, Kate, for you that's amazing. There's you can publish long form articles on LinkedIn now. So look for something called LinkedIn Publisher, okay? And so the studies and things that you're getting can be published as blog articles, number one.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, tremendous credentializer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the LinkedIn ad platform is still not great. Their ads show up like little tiny thumbnails over on the side. Not ideal, quite frankly. But the groups that are inside LinkedIn are really big. And then you can actually just connect with people. And there's a balance you want to do. We have people contact us all the time that are just frankly really spammy about it. They're just like, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, which is really annoying. Or they've never even spoken to me and all of a sudden they're in pitching me something. So when you do it, you want to actually do it like a Q&A almost, or like a, hey, I noticed that you're looking for things for your residents to do X. So you can kind of check out the different assisted living centers that you want to do business with, number one. It's a really big resource for that. And then enter into the conversation that's going on for them. So find the common points. Oh, this is another really great idea for you. Related to LinkedIn, but not directly. And everybody should be paying attention to this one. There is a resource called answerthepublic.com. It's free. And you can go there and you can type in a keyword and find out all the questions that people in different countries are asking related to a topic. Like, you could type in mobility, or physical therapy, or injury rehab, and find out all the questions, and they group them by form of question, like, what are the best physical therapy centers? Or it's grouped in what, how, why, are, when, and where questions. And write your content to answer the most commonly asked questions. It will help drive your sales. Okay?
That is awesome.
I know, isn't that cool?
Yes, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's a really great resource. We started playing with it a few weeks ago, and you'll see that some of our blog posts are going to be taking advantage of that coming up. So use answerthepublic.com. Okay. Make sure you set it to the market that you want because it defaults to the UK. So you want to set there's a little drop down thingy where you can say US. And that's a good one. And then really LinkedIn is about creating the one-to-one connections that allow you to sell in. So I would definitely be using the groups that are there, right? And you can, they're adding a lot more social component. Like there's things like celebrate work anniversaries of some of your connections and those kinds of things happening now too.
Terrific.
But yeah, be active in there and just know that people are not as fluid in LinkedIn as they are in other social platforms, okay? So Facebook is very, very fluid, very liquid. Twitter, even more so. It's like a river running by you, you know? But LinkedIn, people use it almost as a resume service, but they're not as frequently involved with LinkedIn. So it's really important to kind of pay attention to that. And there is a service that allows you to sort of export your contacts. It's a little on the black hat gray side of things, but you can look into doing that. And the biggest thing is I would suggest you offer like some sort of trial of your product, right? For X period of time and promote it into some of the groups. Okay?
Got it.
Almost like a white paper, because your market likes white papers. They like reports. They like data.
Absolutely. It's critical.
Yeah, so I would take advantage of that they're predisposed to that, okay?
Fantastic, Amy.
Sure. So
Great suggestions. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I need to talk to you. I think the Denver trip is going to happen, so we might be out your way, okay?
Fantastic. Looking forward to it. Thanks again, Amy.
Sure. I'm going to mute your line for your privacy, Kate, okay?
Yeah, thanks.
So, sure. Okay, so anybody else on the phone line with a question, you can press *2 to raise your hand, and we'll get you in the queue there. So let's see. Anya is on the Facebook Live, and she's, you're welcome, Anya. I'm so glad that you enjoy the calls. So what advice do I have for how and where to start with online marketing to get started getting visibility for and selling a new product? That is a great question. So there's a lot of parts to that. How and where to start with online marketing? Okay. At this point in time, most of the online marketing that really is giving you a lot of lift comes from ads. Okay. Now, a lot of you are in your really early stages and probably aren't going to want to do that. We can definitely talk about this. Anya, you're going to be on the client list for the call, so there will be a in-depth recap of some additional strategies for you. So to get started with online marketing and getting visibility, okay, first off, get your web page up. If you're going to do one, make sure that you've already filed for your IP before you do that. For anybody who's looking at different e-commerce platforms or versus having a website, you should probably be looking mostly at Shopify. I know a lot of large businesses that are running on the Shopify platform and they don't even really have a website. Shopify does allow you to do some blogs and you can embed the shopping carts over on your website. The reason I mention your e-commerce platform is because some of the platforms are more optimized for search engine discovery than others. Shopify seems to be doing a good job with their search engine rankings for pages. So that's part of getting started with your online marketing is choosing a good platform. The visibility, you can look at that a whole bunch of ways. So if you're looking at just the online visibility of how do you do that for anything that's in the baby products, which I know you are and some of the other people on the call are, bloggers are going to be really, really big. We did a call about a month ago with a whole lot of different resources for influencer marketing. It's really important, and we'll talk more about that on the client call, I'm sure, because we've got a couple more insights on your specific kinds of projects. So the getting visibility, there's a big phrase, a lot of inventors and product creators use this, go, I just want to get my product, quote, out there. And that's too broad a statement to actually be actionable, okay? You have to get more specific. So to get started getting visibility, I would say first off, define who you want to be visible to. Is it buyers or is it end consumers? Meaning, are you going to sell online or are you going to pitch the offline pieces? Really important to get Amazon reviews. If you're using Amazon, that helps your visibility tremendously. So there's a lot of different ways you could do it depending on how you want to be selling. Okay, so if you type a little more information, I can come back to this for you. So if you're on the phone lines, press *2, that'll raise your hand. And do we have any questions from the webcast? Just checking that. And so I know that we've got more people joining the Facebook Live. Got it. We're having a little challenge here. Let me just refresh the webcast page. Okay, great. So the webcast seems to be good for today. There's another question from the phone lines. Let's see. Phone number is from Ohio, ends in 3341. Hi there, what's your question?
Hi, Amy. This is Mike.
Hey.
I've got a question.
Is this Mike Miklosevic?
That's right. Got it.
I'm so excited. We're going to be talking tomorrow. Yay.
Yes, we are. Fantastic.
Yeah, so what's...
regarding manufacturing and marketing and sales.
Uh-huh.
Which comes first?
That's a great question. Which comes first, manufacturing, marketing, or sales? You know, right now, Mike, we're in a really interesting time because there's something called omni-channel that's happening, and it basically means be everywhere, which is really daunting for most startup businesses. The idea of going from brand new creation into be everywhere is kind of crazy, right? So usually what we're recommending, especially in this land of crowdfunding campaigns and Kickstarters and all these different pieces, is to get your prototypes ready, get your manufacturing lined up, market your product some, and then go into production, okay? If you're doing Kickstarter or Rocket Hub or Indiegogo or any of the other big crowdfunding platforms, it's a little easier to do that. Those platforms are marketing, and they are driven by marketing. So in those cases, you're really dialing in your marketing really early to at least get it out and started, okay? If you're going to go to big box stores and you're not going to do a whole lot of online at first, then you're looking at, you have to have your costing in place so that you know your pricing, and then you're pitching and producing for the order, right? So it depends on method. For anybody who's listening who wants to talk more about Kickstarter and marketing and what happens after the fact with that, we can definitely do that too. So sales is the third thing out of any of those, okay? Because if you think about manufacturing is the production, but it's also the getting everything prepped to produce it, right? Like bill of materials and pricing and all those pieces. The marketing is anything that generates awareness and that generates interest. So things like sell sheets for offline, right? If you're talking to buyers, that falls under sell sheets, emails, call campaigns, anything that you would send to that list of buyers that we sent to you, right? Yeah, that's offline marketing pieces, and it may include some of the videos and things that you've done for an online piece, and it also involves your website, right? So you have a combination of offline and online when it comes to major corporate buyers. If you're selling to end consumers right now, most startups are doing digital piece first and foremost. And digital is super important. And everybody, as far as I'm concerned, everyone who's hearing me should have something where they're building a mailing list on their website. Meaning they're offering a free report, they're offering some tips, they're offering something. Because surprisingly, 34% of sales on even some of the large companies come from their email marketing after the first sale or in support of getting the first sale. Crazy, right? 34% is still coming from emails. So everybody who thinks that email marketing is dead is just pure wrong. You know, they're just wrong. It's not, it's alive and well.
Well, like those
Yeah?
helpful tips that I put up on my website.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Tips are great. For anybody who's wondering what Mike's product is, it's a really great product for dog owners who own homes. I'm just going to say that much. Mike, unless you want to give out the website address, that's up to you.
Oh, yeah. It's
thedoggypaddle.com, and it basically is amazing for your yard. We'll just say it that way. So the which yeah, the which comes first about marketing, manufacturing, and sales. Sales is always going to come kind of slightly after marketing, but the definition of marketing varies tremendously. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, and you'll get an announcement about the client call as well. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very good.
we're gonna do something special for clients. For everybody who's listening, Mike's actually one of our clients from this past fall. So, yeah, it'll be good. I promise. Okay. So Mike, did that take care of you?
Yeah, quite. Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it's confusing. I know.
Take advantage.
I know it's confusing because there's so many different pieces. That's actually why we're going to run through it for you, okay?
Very good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm going to mute your line for your privacy. So everybody on the phone lines, press *2 to raise your hand. We've got one more question from the Facebook Live from Anya. So any advice concerning tools for getting online feedback on a product before launching it? Online feedback, it can come in a lot of different forms, so I'm not sure which way you mean. If you're just saying reviews or you want people to actually try the product and then give you design feedback. Reviews function as a feedback loop on that. So the tools for getting the online feedback in that case would be put it up in a crowdfunding campaign, Amazon site, your own website. You can also offer the product to bloggers that are active in your category and get them to give you feedback. You can use things like SurveyMonkey if it's on product naming or packaging or the look of something, and they don't need to try the product. So SurveyMonkey is a good one to use. You can also use just simple gravity forms. It's a little more technical though, so I'm trying to keep things not so techy for everybody. Give me a little more input on that, Anya, if that didn't take care of your question, okay? So you can just type it more in the Facebook, and for everybody who's on the phone, press *2. We'll double check that in a sec. And let me check the online Q&A. Okay, so it looks like the Q&A is good for the webcast. And there we go. Okay, so press *2 to raise your hand on the phone lines, and we've got more people coming in our Facebook Live. So the big things are some trends. I'm going to talk for a sec here about this. There are a lot of trends right now that are really important for you to pay attention to. Things that come under the heading of digital marketing are things like your product page. How does it look on Amazon? How does it look on Shopify? And there's enhancements to the product page that you can do. So you want to make sure that you're getting reviews. You can turn on, in Shopify particularly, you can turn on the function to add stars so that they show up, so that you can see that you're a 5-star rated product, etc. That'll help you to always pay attention to what's called above the fold on your product page. That means, what do they see before they start scrolling around? Really important. And video and multiple views of your product are very, very helpful right now. There's a very big trend that's going to start becoming extremely mainstream in the next 2 years. This is my prediction, and it's for the augmented reality and virtual reality on websites. So shopping sites are already doing this. There's eyeglass websites that you can go to where you can virtually try on a pair of frames that you're considering. There's retailers that are looking at virtual changing rooms and try-on rooms and fitting rooms, and you see it all the time with makeup tutorials. Some of the main makeup companies are letting you try on like 30 shades of lipstick on, basically you take a picture of yourself and then you just select the color palette that you want and it applies lipstick on your picture for you. So a ton is going on. There's so many different things we can talk about here. The big one is to pick 1 or 2 things and dominate them as much as you can and get really good at the 1 or 2 or 3 before you move on to 4, 5, and 6, okay? Instagram is, again, real fluid, kind of like Twitter. So, probably not the best for most of you. Snapchat's really fluid. Instagram is probably great. Pinterest is great when you get into the mommy bloggers. So next question, or we're going to wrap. So we got time for one more question from somebody. And let's see, on the phone line, press *2 to raise your hand. On the webcast, you can just type it in the chat window. And on Facebook, just type it in. We'll find the Facebook Live. So phone lines, press *2 to raise your hand. Okay. Somebody let me know, does anybody want to know the latest, greatest trend in blogging and in how many blogs and things you should be doing? Oh, I see we've got a whole bunch of questions just came in. Okay, so our next one is from Texas. Your number ends in 5857. Hi there. What's your question?
Hey, I want to hear whatever it was that you were just going to say about blogging, about physical products,
Yeah.
what you learned. So.
Yeah, I like it. This is Lil, right?
Yeah, I thought that I was getting on at the right time, but apparently I missed the beginning. So.
Oh, got it. Well, there's a lot. We were at a 3-day conference, and we got in some behind-the-scenes conversations as well. So
was it prep version?
It was, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
that's...
knew a ton of people that went to that.
Yeah, we were there, but we also got in some VIP events, and we were around some of the other speakers, and one of my friends was one of the main MCs. So one of the big things about blogging, right, it used to be that it was all about just this volume of content, and they were like, oh, you got to put out a blog like every 3 days, and well, the truth is that has died out, which is the good news for all of us. Doing low quality blog posts gave me the heebie-jeebies, and I didn't like it, so we never actually did it. But right now what's working is, let's say, trend was in about 2015, one of the large companies that was there was doing about 400 blog posts a year, right? And they were putting them up, getting them out quick, doing all that. Well, 2015, they cut it back to doing about 78 for the whole year. So from around 400 down to 78. And their sales, their sales actually went up for doing fewer blog posts that were higher quality, right? And their SEO and their search engine rankings and everything else about their site went up as well, just for having more quality content but less of it, okay? So they were putting in the same amount of time, but they were redirecting it and getting better at what they were doing. Now, last year they did, I think, or in the past 365 days, they've done 38 blog posts, down from the 70, right? Like the 78, 75, whatever it was. So they're winnowing it down again, and they're actually seeing that their engagement numbers are going up, and their SEO rankings are going up. So anybody who's on here who's listening and you've got a really big blog, what you want to do is go through and clean it, okay? So look for all the blog posts, all the pages on your website that are getting less than 1 organic view per month, and basically unpublish those. Use the tool that I mentioned to Kate, which was answerthepublic.com. Improve your blog post, redirect the old links to the new blog post so that you drive all the traffic to new, higher quality content, so that all your backlinks stay active. There was a very technical answer, but the overall trend is less content, higher quality, okay? So go for quality. I love that that's the trend. It's so much better. Because frankly, most people couldn't absorb the amount of content that was being pushed out into the world. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But you listed the name of something that did that, and I couldn't understand what you said.
If you're interested in blogging, you want to know what questions people have that your blog post should answer, you can go to answerthepublic.com and you put in your keyword, and it'll show you all the questions that are like the top 100 questions around that topic. And it's a little free tool, by the way, too. So kind of fun, right?
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a really great place to start with producing quality. Okay. That's one of the big things right now is how do you make something higher quality, even product pages, product listings on Amazon or on your website. It's how do you make it quality so that it feels very trustable, and the social proof element is really, really important. That means testimonials, videos, reviews. Reviews are actually better if you, okay, I'll just say it this way. Most people think that negative reviews are bad. The actual statistics show that if you have 10 reviews up on your site and one of them is slightly negative or there's a slight downside to something, leave it up, because what happens is people actually trust the other 9 reviews more, right? If you leave up a negative thing, everything becomes more trustable. Crazy, right?
No, that's good.
Yeah. So
And I've also heard that, if somebody does a review and they have something, they liked it, but they state something that was, partially negative in it, it's a much more trustworthy review.
yeah, because it shows that there's a trend towards transparency, and it shows that you are being very straightforward about your product and about your reputation in your company, etc. So it's a good piece. The overall trends are augmented reality, virtual reality, have additional views of your product at all times on your website. Try and give side views or 360-degree views. Use your testimonials throughout your site, and get the social proof element going. And really right now it's also a lot of collaborations, right? How can you collaborate? How can you do more? Your advertising is still going to be the biggest part of your budget once you get your product done. So that's still happening. You're going to have to pay for advertising. And even in the crowdfunding space, that's more true than ever. Lil, do you want to hear a little story about a crowdfunding campaign back behind the scenes piece?
That is right up my alley. That's exactly what I...
Okay. So a couple years back, about 2 years ago, somewhere around there, I was talking with a good friend of mine. He is the architect behind a very large crowdfunding campaign. The first part of it did $650,000 of donation with gift fundraising in 60 days. The second part took it over $1 million. Okay, so I saw him a week ago, and I said, "So how's it going?" I saw the product was in Bed Bath & Beyond. What's going on? And he said the company went bankrupt in November. And I said, "What? You guys raised $1 million. What happened?" And he said, "Well, the inventor stopped being coachable, stopped feeling like he needed anybody's perspective on anything, and he went and he made an extremely large inventory order that he should not have done because it was too large, right? And he was not paying attention really and not being coachable, and he overcommitted and thought he was in a different place than he was, and he went bankrupt." So just because you raise a lot of money, the moral of the story, just because you raise a lot of money or you do a crowdfunding campaign and you're successful at it does not mean that you're now Bill Gates, and that you know how to do business or that you have all the money in the world. We just did a talk on this on Saturday at a conference, that one of the biggest things is to actually treat every one of the dollars that you raise in a crowdfunding campaign as if every one of them is a promise that you are making to somebody else to deliver your things. Okay, so yeah, behind the scenes there was some unfortunate things because it was actually a really good product. So.
Right. Well, I mean, I bought that product, and I never received it, and so obviously we won't say who it was, but then I got letters that of what happened, and that they're launching a new thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know about.
No, my friend is no longer involved in that project. Because he had background and experience that would have been extremely valuable, and the founder stopped listening to everybody. There you go. So,
Yeah.
But it comes down to they did a great job with the campaign. They created a really good pond. They had Facebook ads they were doing. They did a lot of really cool things. So that's the takeaway. They did a lot that was really good. And even when you become successful at whatever it is you were trying to do, it's really important to stay coachable and in the game of still growing yourself and still learning. I mean, I still have mentors. I have people that I bounce ideas off of. And we've been doing this a long time. It's like,
Yeah.
it's called smart, right? You're like, don't learn it all on your own. So, Lil, does this take care of your question for today?
Well, that's just the problem that they had is one of the biggest problems is how much do you order for inventory, and then if you don't order enough, then you're stuck because people get mad because they order and it doesn't come through, or if you order too much, then you get in the problem that he had. And I don't know how you figure out how much you're supposed to order.
We do that a lot for clients, is the gauging it, because it's not a science. It's not straight up math, but it is math at the same time. So it's math that also tempers your enthusiasm and hedges your bets. And that's where I think people's emotions sway them, right? I've seen it happen where people are overly enthusiastic and are letting the train carry them away from paying attention. Or the other piece is that, everybody likes a good deal, right? And you see, oh my gosh, if I just order, 25,000 units instead of 10,000 units, then my price drops this much and I can do this and I can do that. And they tie up a lot of capital. So that's one of the other pitfalls. And there's definitely ways to avoid it. It goes to staying very real and grounded about where you are in the process. So, yeah, it's a big one. So I see we've got one more. What?
Biggest takeaway from the conference?
Boy, there's a lot. And I did a couple Facebook Lives from there too. We're going to have one of my colleagues come on and do a Shopify call because he does a lot with Shopify. And then I guess one of my biggest takeaways would be to don't get too attached or married to any particular approach or platform. There's a software we've been using for a very long time, and they frankly haven't kept up with some of the new ones now. So we're always in a mode of evaluating what we're doing, how we're doing it. Are we hitting the numbers that we want to hit? And that's an extremely important approach. And, we've seen companies that haven't done that and they tank because they don't stay current. For everybody who's been watching us lately, you probably notice that our emails are changing, our website's gone through an overhaul, our messaging is getting a refresh, and that's because every business should do that. And if you're not doing that at least every 2 years, you're going to get left behind and be a dinosaur. There you go. Yay! Cheerful, right? But the big takeaway is, stay current, stay in the game, and always be learning. There's no surprise there. And it was really fascinating to see how much people could get in their own bubble. Like, because it was a digital marketing conference, everybody's like, oh my God, digital, digital, digital. And they're forgetting that still 85% of the sales in this culture happen offline. And they haven't noticed the trend yet of a lot of e-commerce people are now showing up at trade shows to try and sell there. And they fall on their face when they do that because they're trying to take the online tactics and jam them in with the buyers. And it doesn't quite work the same way. So it's really interesting to make sure that you're not in your own bubble, because you can't see yourself accurately. You can't see the market accurately inside your own bubble. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool. Well, I'm going to mute your line for privacy, Lil. And we're going to take one last question from, I think this is Dina. Your phone number ends in 1450.
Hi, yes.
Hi there. How you doing this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. This call was right up your alley, I think.
Yeah, if my head doesn't explode yet. So, are you actually, your questions that you asked on your solicitation email have me curious, so I'm just going to pick the top one that I think is the best.
Cool.
So how do you convert Amazon buyers to join your mailing list and give reviews?
I'm so glad somebody picked up on that question. So Amazon buyers, technically you are not really supposed to have direct contact with them after the sale. You don't own that list. Amazon does, which is one of the downsides of Amazon, because you can't really remarket to them very easily, right? So the big thing that you want to do, first and foremost, is put a postcard or an incentive in your package for them to go to your website, okay? If you can get them over to your website and you have a tracking pixel installed on the website from, say, Facebook, or even your Google things, or in our case, we use tracking pixel from Facebook for a lot of what we do. So if they go over to your website and they go to one of the pages that has the tracking pixel installed, you can actually do what's called retarget marketing, and target them again through Facebook to buy more, leave a review, whatever, right? If it's something where you are going to give them a promotional price to do something, then technically it's a sponsored testimonial. Amazon also has the verified purchaser reviews. One of the things that goes a long way at the beginning is something that looks like a handwritten note. Okay, so you can use the Bond service. It's just Bond, I think it's bond.com. and they produce things that look like handwritten notes for you, and you insert those into the packages. The other thing is doing anything that's a surprise for a person or an extra over the top, like Johnny Cupcakes. Johnny Earl is the guy who founded it. Johnny and I were talking about this, and he loves to just take a Sharpie marker as packages are shipping out, and he just writes a quick thank you on the outside of the box. Or he'll draw an extra little picture, a little graphic for people. And his market happens to love that. And actually, if they've been shopping with him for a while and then suddenly, there's no extra surprise for a few purchases, they get a little sad about it. So something extra in the box is a good way to get them to go to your website. That's really what you want to do, is drive them to either your social media for an action or your website. Now, you can put a card in there that says something about a contest that you're running. You can just straight up ask them for a review. Say, you know what, this is a great product that I designed, while I had one of my sons on my hip and the other one tugging at my leg. And it would really mean a lot to them and us if you would leave us a review, right? So anything you can do to re-engage. The thing to keep in mind is always that it has to be of service to the audience to get them to act, because we all act in self-interest when we're being asked to do things, but we do like to help people too. So you want to frame it that way, so you're taking advantage of the moment that you're having with people, and make sure that your package looks really good. I know you had sent me, just for everybody's knowledge, Dina's a client of ours. I know you had sent me some sketches of some of your packaging ideas. Those are good for Amazon type sales, okay? They won't work for retail, okay? Because you won't get the retailer to do it, but you can execute on it. Does that make sense?
Yes, we'll probably have to have an email exchange about that.
Yeah.
I'm having trouble finding anyone who can do the tracking pixels, so I'll have to email you about that as well.
Well, I know that we were also going to talk a bit about Shopify with you and some of the other platforms and how it plays with your own website. So I have an email that I owe you about that. So Shopify, the reason for suggesting Shopify is that it's really super easy to build with. There is a place in their platform to install the tracking pixel, and even on, I think you have a WordPress site, right? Right now?
WordPress WooCommerce right now.
Okay, so with WordPress, you can definitely install tracking pixels. Depends on your theme, where you put it. Your web designer should be able to put that on there for you. And it's really fast. I mean, like literally it should take less than like 10 minutes. Okay. And it allows you to build custom audiences and things in Facebook. So the tracking pixel is really important, so that you can do the retargeting, because retargeting, okay, so let me back up a second for everybody here. What we're talking about is retargeting marketing, that if someone goes to your website, that you can then know that they went there and you can target another message to them. Okay, so it's really important because that person has already indicated interest in what you're doing. So they're actually closer to your circle than somebody who's never been to your site. So they're also less expensive to market to. Does that make sense? So the least expensive people to market to are usually people who are already interested or have already been purchasers, right? So for anybody who has a single SKU, meaning a single version of something, it's really important that we build out more items you can sell to them later too. So I've been thinking about this for your online shop, Dina, so we can have more of a conversation for this, okay?
Perfect.
Yeah, because we've got a couple extra ideas for you about this. But retargeting pixels are really important. So everybody, make sure that if you are going to have a website, whether it's your own, a Shopify site, any of that, make sure to put tracking pixels on there early, before you even are considering doing a Facebook ad, because it will accumulate the audience for you. Okay, and it starts doing that from the day you install it on your website. So it's a good tool, okay?
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm going to mute your line for your privacy. And with that, everybody, we are going to wrap for the day. It was really lovely to be with you all. I'm really glad that we get to do these. We are going to go to more of this Q&A format, less content at the beginning, because we actually want to serve people. So know that. And also, it would help us tremendously. Go leave reviews. Go leave us testimonials and things on our Facebook page, or email them as a reply to some of the announcements that are going out. It's really important to us that we're serving people, and it helps us build our business so that we can serve you even better. There are some additional offers. If you want to get a more structured call and be on a program that we're going to do specifically for clients with this kind of thing, even if you have done a product action call with us, which are $197, you'll be invited to that call. So it'll be sometime next week, most likely the 30th, maybe the 31st. But we will send out an announcement to anybody who's a client of ours to join us on those. I would really recommend you do it. I'll be actually sharing some statistics and some inside strategies that we just physically don't have capacity and time to go into on this format. So there was a link for our services inside the email that everybody got this morning. I'd highly encourage you, go invest in your project. We're talking about $197 to get action items specifically from where you are if you've never worked with us. And I think that it's a really good value. We've had a lot of people get a lot of great things out of it. For anybody who's currently a client, like I said, you're going to get invited to that anyway. And we'll make sure that you get those announcements. It'll probably go out by Friday for the announcement of the day and time, okay? So that's it, everybody. If you want to join me in Rochester, New York for a strategy session, a strategy intensive, we can do that. I'll be there till the 3rd. I think I fly back the 29th. And we are putting together a trip to a couple other places. So if you're interested in working in your own hometown, let me know. We'll set something up. And then the consulting time is available for anywhere. We do have one space, I think. And then the strategy intensives we do mostly in Pasadena, except for when I'm traveling. So all of that said, welcome to spring. We are in the height of trade show season. We are in the height of getting everything into momentum for Christmas selling season. So this is a really important time of year. Ramp up your digital marketing and pay attention to your inventory levels, okay? We will have Justin Crane on one of the upcoming calls. And with that, everybody, have a happy week. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
The conference is now completed.
Okay, so everybody on the Facebook Live, thank you so much. I love seeing the little hearts fly through as we're doing this call. It's really nice to have some visual connection to you. And Pam, thank you so much for promoting these calls to the Tampa Bay Inventors Council members. I really appreciate that. You're such a great support. And Anya, thank you for your questions and having me feel connected to people. I really appreciate what you're doing, and it's really important. So Anya, you'll be on that client call with us as well, I'm sure. And if you can't make it, we will do our best to record the client call for anybody who's a client that couldn't be on it. So with that, everybody, have a really great week, and know that we are so grateful you're in our circle. means the world to me that we get to serve you. And our big commitment is we're going to serve everybody who shows up. You know, the people that show up, and they're the ones that are going to be along for the ride. So there you go. Any last questions, comments from the Facebook land? Oh, you're welcome, Rachel. Looking forward to seeing how your box is going. That was a great meeting the other day. So hope that helped you. I'll be on email later today looking for things. And let's see. I guess that's it. So, yeah. I'm watching all these hearts scroll by. I love it. I'm like, oh, that's really sweet. I think it might be Jeff. So everybody, we'll see you again next time. Bye for now.